Hi, my name is James Eagleson. My partner is Tyler Vatcher, and we are doing our report and presentation on batteries. Now, batteries have been around for a while. Some people even believe batteries have been around since ancient Egyptians. They used the primitive form of a battery. But the battery we know and use today was first developed in 1836. It was called the Daniel cell. It was developed by the scientist Daniel. Obviously, that's where he got his name from. And yeah, so ever since then, there's been problems with them, there's been cons with them, drawbacks, and science and technology has been developing those. They've gotten much better since that first cell. Even from what we can see, alkaline batteries, old school, like those are the old school batteries, they're nowhere near as good as the batteries we have now today. And so just as time goes on, batteries keep getting better and better, but there still are drawbacks to using batteries now. One of them is size. Now, batteries can get pretty small, such as the case with this watch. It's battery powered, and obviously it's a wristwatch, fits on your wrist, pretty small. And the battery in it's called a button battery. It's about a centimeter in radius, but would fit in my fingers. So that's very small, but it has almost no power to it. It needs to run a watch, which draws almost nothing. So they still are fairly large for what they do. For example, a laptop. Laptop's pretty powerful, you know. Lots of components that need to run, screen, CPU, all of that. And because of that, laptop batteries can be very big, such as this one. For example, this is the watch, comparative size to the battery. It's quite big. But at the same time, we all know our iPhones, they're pretty small. And battery inside is even smaller. It's about roughly half the size, width-wise and lengthwise. So that's pretty small. But still, at the same time, that is a fair bit of size. And AA batteries, obviously, they're pretty big, really large. So that's a problem with batteries, is their size. Another drawback is the fact that they die, obviously. Single cell batteries, such as these. Single cell means non-rechargeable. So single cell batteries, such as your classic Duracell AA, they die pretty quickly. In my personal experience, remotes that have them, you usually have to replace them every 3 months. So that's quite a few batteries over a lifetime. And also rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable batteries. This one, for example, lithium-ion battery. This is the laptop battery. Their shelf life, they won't last forever. A laptop battery just sitting, not being used, will last for 5 years before it just can't be used anymore. But a regular used one will usually last about 3 years. Now, that 3 years, after that is up, usually it'll still be able to hold its charge for about 30 minutes, but that's not really seen as, performing as a battery because it's dying after 30 minutes. It's not holding the charge like it's supposed to for a laptop, which is, most are made to design a full day of work. So after 30 minutes, it's considered dead, whereas it's still holding a charge, but just not what it's designed to do. And after time, it will actually die, which it won't be able to do anything. So, but that's a ways off from the 3 years of regular use. Another problem with batteries is their heat. They give off heat. I'm sure you've all felt it when you're working with a laptop on your lap. Your leg can get pretty hot. They are affected by heat a lot. If you are using your phone and it's very hot, the battery will go much faster than when it's in a normal temperature, as well as cold. Cold also affects it negatively. It'll decrease much quicker in the cold. And they can be burned by leaving them in the sun. Most batteries, see this one, has all the warning signs on the bottom. Most of those are about the chemical, toxicity in it. But at the same time, there will be the one that will say keep out of direct sunlight, that kind of a deal. That's because they can just basically be melted by the sun. So that's a drawback. Another drawback, talking about toxicity, is that yeah, they're toxic. They're bad for the environment. They're dangerous to humans' health and any living animal. They have to be processed when they're thrown out. They can't just be thrown in normal garbage. And they're really, 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 I know I said that about the environment, but they're really bad for the environment. Leaving it out will just, it's absolutely terrible for that, for the environment. And even after they're processed, some still will get into the landfills and stuff like that, and it's just not a good thing to have in there. And you know, lots of, in my own personal experience, I know a few older people, grandparents, that kind of thing, they just throw batteries out in the garbage. They don't see anything about it, and that's really bad for the environment. But for now, there's not really any alternative to batteries. They perform their job well for what they are intended to do, and as technology furthers, so does the battery. Like batteries just keep getting better and better over time. For example, like back in in the 1900s, they didn't have anything close to the batteries that we have in our phones now, and a lot of that has to do with phones becoming smaller and smaller, and designers requiring batteries to also get smaller and smaller. So scientists are putting time, energy, money into the development of smaller and smaller batteries and better performing batteries. So because of that, batteries just keep getting better and better. Besides that, they perform their job well. With cars, for example, they are cleaner than gasoline, but they still need to have their energy produced. A lot of people have this belief that if you're driving an electric car, you're completely 100% green, emission free. That's not exactly true, because the production of the electricity you're putting into the car from your main line in your house, that's how it's being produced. And a lot of the ways it's produced is with coal or nuclear energy. Both of those aren't clean. Now there is hydro dam, just like Happy Valley, Goose Bay, all that's going in there. That'll be clean energy, but at the same time, that's not the energy that we're using right now. So that's not exactly clean. And also, the battery-powered cars believe that you have to replace your batteries after 3 years, which will be extremely expensive. For the Chevrolet Volt, it would be $15,000 to replace the batteries, which is astronomically high considering a car of the same quality as a Chevy Volt would be about $15,000 now. So for a brand new car, you're just buying batteries. So comparatively for that, they aren't great. But as as technology furthers, so will technology of the batteries become better and better. So 10 years from now, they could be absolutely amazing, and everyone will be using cars, but can't see that now. So for now, they're not exactly practical in cars. So yes, this is even the problems with batteries, cons of batteries. Obviously, they perform their job well. They're in all our controllers, such as that, all that kind of thing. They are widely used, but they do have their drawbacks. So you weigh those, that's the batteries.